Let everything load up here for a moment. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining another episode of the OpenJS Foundation's Cross Projects Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 2nd. There's the recording and the notes. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Don't forget to add yourself to the meeting minutes. And of course, as usual, if anyone or multiple people can help take notes, that's always greatly appreciated. Takes a village. Cool. So getting the ball rolling, do we have any announcements this morning?
We are in planning mode for the Grace Hopper conference. I believe the in-person tickets are sold out, but there's still virtual tickets available. We will have a virtual event on Friday for their open source day with the Node.js project. It's a hackathon, so the Node folks are working on that. And then we will have a booth under the Linux Foundation umbrella that we're leading on in Orlando. Sarah and I will be there on booth duty. We'd love to meet you all. And we're also participating in Career Day. So hopefully we'll have some cool leads on some jobs. And if you have cool leads on jobs, send them our way so we can make sure we link to those.
Great. Well, speaking of jobs, I just merged the Node.js tweet this morning, the monthly hiring tweet. So if anybody has any jobs they want to add to that, reply to that thread. When is the Grace Hopper event? Since September?
September. Yeah, September 16th, Friday is the hackathon, the virtual open source day. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, actually. No, yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the event in Orlando. So 15,000 people in Orlando, 30,000 total. So
it's amazing.
Excited. Yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Let's see. Anything else in terms of announcements or board updates or anything of that sort?
Well, I think we're kind of off sync. I think we're going to try to do better about sort of promoting when our meetings are coming up. You know, we do have that public calendar. It's on the collaboration link. So if you go to that, you can actually click on the calendar and just populate whatever calendar technology you use. So for example, next week we'll have our working session for CPC, but we'll have a standards working group as well. So a good place to sort of track that. So
yeah. Good point. Excellent. Anything else? Was there a board meeting recently? Is that what I understood, or is that
2 weeks ago?
Board meeting 2 weeks ago, and then we had a slight finance meeting, which was kind of light yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing to report at the time, though, at this time?
Yeah, nothing reported this time. We're going to reschedule the actual finance meeting to when we have quorum so we can actually go through it. But we did clean up our finance slides, and hopefully the next time we schedule a meeting, we will have all of our costs in from OpenJS World, because right now they're not all in. So our budget doesn't give us our report doesn't give us a full glimpse of everything, because we need those OpenJS World numbers in, because we know those are going to be a fair chunk of change.
Okay. Great. With that, we can jump into the agenda. The meeting issue is 921 in the CPC repo. The first item on the agenda is the link fixer.
I believe I fixed that, didn't I? There's a PR. There was a PR up. It seems like it got merged. Yeah, and it just passed on that PR I made, so that should be fixed.
Okay, great. So, do you have the PR? I can drop it in there. Looking at closed stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, there's two different PRs.
I'll just say
yeah.
it's fixed.
Yeah, I commented that already.
Okay,
I
great.
just did. Ahead of you, sorry.
That's all right. I'll close it. Boom. All
Seeing
right.
this live is kind of cool.
Excellent. So I'll just make a note there. Fixed and closed. We like those. Cool. So moving on, the next item is OpenJS World Retrospective. We talked about stuff last week. I don't know if we have any sort of notes or an update or how we want to move forward on this particular issue.
A couple of things. One, we are going to carry the conversation through to the programming committee, but I think at a high level, and everyone sort of pitch in the idea next year, given that COVID is still pretty much impacting our lives, that we will co-locate with some other events like the Linux Foundation events, and then we'll look at investing more of our event budget into third-party events and having a booth and community presence that way.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
When do we expect the program committee to start meeting again? Or is that?
I
Did I
think
miss it?
Cahill was going to put that on the calendar for middle of August.
Yeah, I
Is that
plan to start
correct?
the middle of August, so let me get that updated. I'm gonna priority on my list.
Great. Cool.
To do a little vacation survey amongst the friends.
Great. All right, excellent. So should we leave this issue open? I guess is a question for now. So we have.
We can. We do actually. We'll be publishing a report as well with all of our data from the event and the survey. So that shall be coming out. So why don't we leave that open? And once we have that, we will post it.
Okay.
Perfect. So we'll close it with
the final report. Yeah. Because I believe we have a 2023 issue open already. So.
Yeah, and I actually am looking at the agenda and just swapped it around. I figured we can just jump to that one next on the agenda here.
Should we remove the label now, or?
Well, I figured maybe let's just check on it again. I mean, when do we expect we'll have something in 2 weeks or in terms of the report?
Yeah, that it was just they were just making some final tweaks because it's, you know, all the graphs and everything go to graphic designer, and so that should be ready to go this week.
Cool. We'll check on it next meeting and then
Yeah, so never mind my call.
yeah, we're all good. Great. So jumping to the next one, I'll make a note here real quickly. We'll close next meeting after a report is published. We'll continue the discussion and program committee meetings. Great. So the next one is the 2023 planning. Does anybody want to comment on this, or is this kind of the same sort of thing?
My only comment, if you have an event that you think is fantastic, well attended, valuable for the community, send it our way, and so we can at least get on the list for sponsorship prospectus. Some of them are coming through already. Tierney sent me I think one already, maybe one or two, and that way that actually helps shape our budget planning for 2023 as well. So everything will start to really come together in the fall.
Okay. And I'll just also say that we'll continue talking about this in the program committee meetings.
Yeah.
Great. So should we leave this issue open for folks to drop items into? Should we take off the agenda label? What do we want to do with this issue?
It depends. I wouldn't mind having an open issue on everyone dropping their favorite event, and that would be a cool way to curate some ideas.
Okay.
I like that. So we just glance through them and see ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Great. If someone can either add a comment or update the description, that's what we'll use this for, that would be great. Cool. So I'm just kind of working with the agenda here a little bit. I'm going to move this one down. Let's see here to related issues. So if I make that sort of change, then we get into some of the election related stuff, which I don't know if we really have anything on any of these. We have the CPC at-large voting member election, which is issue 906. We have the CPC impact voting member selection, which is 905, and then the CPC secondary seat, which is 903. I am under the impression that the elections are still happening, and today is the last day to vote. So if anyone is able to vote and hasn't yet, please do so.
It was yesterday. I think.
It actually closed at midnight last night. So we are now starting to communicate with the candidates, and then we will give an update to all on email. I think is probably the way to do it, but I tend to like to.
Can I ask where that communication has been happening? Because I have not seen any of it.
What communication on the election?
Yeah, on any of them.
The election, it just closed at midnight our time last night. So we're going to start communicating out to those folks.
No, as in, I don't think I've seen any emails about any of these elections at all.
You should have gotten an OPA vote thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Can you
have other people been seeing them?
Well, it went to the voting members. Emily, I believe you were on that list because you're a voting member.
So
it should be from like OPA vote.
Can you mention the title of an email that I should have received?
It should say OPA vote in the title. OPA VOTE.
I have not.
OPA vote voting link.
I got nothing.
Toby, did you receive an email about voting? Because I think you two are similar positions, right?
I did, yeah. I'm trying to. I have this as a title.
Gil, can you pull up?
Yeah, I'm going through right now.
Yeah, I know you should have Emily's email on there.
Let me go into the secondary CPC director one. And this one over here. Emily, what's your email?
My first name at gmail.com.
That's pretty nice.
Mhm.
I'm a little jealous of that. I was really looking forward to actually do this, but my first name has like 5 letters, and so Gmail at that time wouldn't let you do that.
I'm not seeing that on that email list that we've been looking at our source one. So let me talk to Robin and figure this out right now. Robin, Kyle, Lee, and all our things immediately right
I'll
after
make sure
this,
you have it. If not, we'll extend it. Yeah.
Are we I mean, you have the data of who was supposed to get an email and who was able and who voted. So are we actually cool with that outcome? I mean, like, did other people miss receiving an email? Is my question. Did we? I mean, you don't have to answer this now, but I think it would
count. I thought it went out, but let me circle back with Heel and just double check.
We have all the numbers. We know like how many people voted, and we know how many people didn't vote, situationally, all that kind of stuff. But I feel like we're just going to double check our lists.
We don't know who voted for. We don't know who voted for who. But let's just put it that way.
Of course, you don't know that, but that's the one I'm asking about.
Just to be
just
clear.
To be clear,
we cannot see that.
Sure. But I think it would be nice to make sure that everyone that was supposed to get a chance to vote actually was able to vote.
Oh, definitely.
Especially given that my understanding was that we're going to leave the voting open up to the end of today, so that we could remind folks that they have to vote in the school. And so,
So
I mean,
I
Sorry.
did that yesterday. I found out who had not voted and I pinged
And
them
you reached
one-on-one.
out.
I did.
Okay, so in that case, and if they were able to vote, that is totally fine. But I mean, I just want to make sure that, I mean, I know this is not a high stake election at all, but I just want to make sure that we do it in a way that like no one feels kind of like
Right. Yeah.
weirded out about the whole thing.
Yeah. So I was almost certain that we had Emily on that list. So I will go back with Kahil and double check. We do have a lot of great candidates. We have
Yeah, that's
Joe,
my point. That's why it's not a high
Joe,
stakes
Emily,
election, right?
Toby. Yeah. We have Mateo. Yeah.
A question I
And
have about that.
Jordan. Go ahead.
Is it possible to extend it since it's finished? Like, or do we have to redo the vote?
We can extend it.
Okay, cool.
I would recommend, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just was wondering if we'd all have to like revote or not.
No,
so-
and our
okay, cool.
bylaws actually say it doesn't specify how long the vote should be. We had sort of just set the 2 weeks, particularly with summer, to make sure everybody had voted. And we've sort of done that in the past, yeah.
The easy solution here is probably if someone can just share the link with me so that I can do the voting, I can do it right now, then we can keep to the idea of announcing the results actually here.
I don't think we were announcing the results here, were we?
I like
I
to
think we
talk
had
to folks
disagreed to do
one-on-one.
that.
Yeah.
Also, the links are all individualized, so like they'd have to add that right now, and like since there wasn't already an entry for you, and then they'd also have to extend the thing. I'd prefer that we, just because we weren't going to announce it here, that we delay it, like just push it back to like let the foundation staff finish that after this meeting, just so we don't mess it up at all. So there's no, like not
in issue 903, Joe has commented now, like, well, late June, that the discussion at today's meeting was to open nominations now and close them on July 19, and then run a 2-week election cycle with the ability to announce the new person on the CPC meeting on August 2nd. And this is what I'm referring to, that if I'm the only one who was supposed to be able to vote, who didn't get to vote, if I can do the voting now, we can still do the announcement now because we can get the results like right away, right?
So I think that might have been our plan previously. The foundation staff seem to have like shifted that, or that seems to be different than what's documented there. So that's fine. Like that's a separate issue that we can address later. But I think we should go with the plan that the foundation staff have right now, rather than the one that was documented then. Just because that's what they've been operating on in the past few days. So.
Yeah, and just to be clear and to add to this, we actually agreed in the call 2 weeks ago not to make the public announcement today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, hence my confusion, but I see in the issue that it says otherwise, but I agree. Let's just go with what the foundation was planning. I don't think there's any rush to figure this out ASAP. So we'll know soon.
I mean, what the foundation was planning and what the CPC decided 2 weeks ago. I just want to make. I mean, I just want to make sure that is heard.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, so that's the plan then. Emily would get the link, take care of it, work through it today, announce tomorrow. I'm curious about this at-large voting election. I've been a little distracted lately, but I'm looking at it, and has that been ongoing as well?
We had nominations, and we had just the right number of nominations to fill those seats.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
That's
so we will announce that. Yeah, that was the easy part. I know.
Yeah, and they've been communicating as well, the winners of that.
Yeah.
Good.
Our
Yeah,
election process is like a 3-dimensional jigsaw puzzle, honestly.
It really is. I would be
really
open to kind of working on that and fixing some things.
Yeah.
Because I was just looking at the documentation thinking, I'm not even actually sure how this is supposed to happen. I hope someone's doing something, but luckily we don't have to do anything.
And I analyze every word carefully. I gut check with Andy and legal, sometimes to make sure I'm interpreting things well, and sort of looking at precedent as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we should have an issue open to kind of review these things,
Yeah,
and make them
I
clearer.
would love that. Yeah. Clear as
I'll-
mud right now. Yeah.
I'll open an issue right now.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I've even been snoozing a reminder in Slack to like, there was some other election related thing. I think the previous election.
It's the impact representatives essentially says that the CPC must ratify those. And what does, our interpretation of ratify, in the past, it's been essentially a notification from the project, but there hasn't really been an official voting motion by the CPC to ratify those. So
Great.
I don't think is quite necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that where's the ratify language? Like, what document is that in?
I believe it's in the bylaws.
Okay. Okay, never mind.
believe
I was
it's
gonna say
either the
maybe we should
bylaw-
change that, but I don't want to change that. I don't care.
It could be in the charter, though.
It could be our documentation from bootstrapping before I
Yeah.
joined. I'll have to double check, but
I
Well,
mean,
it could be in the charter too.
We can also,
The
given that
charter.
ratify is like vague, we can also just say, like, we can lend that we can lend like us ratifying it being that, like, just a passively agreeing to what the projects say. Like, I would like to document what we do with that, but I also I don't want to go down the path of a vote for that. One, I think that can cause like problems with the projects, and two, I think it's just excess overhead that's useless. I don't think it's useful to do like a vote for that. And so documenting that I think would probably be good.
The ratified language is in the charter.
Great.
Charter.
Toby, if you create that issue, if you can let us know what, I mean, we can find it too, but if folks can drop in any of the things that come to mind that we need to fix on this process.
What do you want to call it? Something like clean up or clarify the overall voting process or something like this?
Yeah, that sounds good. Clarify, makes sense. Great. What are we done? Where's my notes?
Sorry, nitpicky, but we are kind of screwed on the ratified if we go by the actual language, because the terms ended already, right?
Technically, yes. July 13th.
Technically, this means we have no voting members. Technically, this means that we have no voting members that can ratify other voting members, and that must be done in order for those voting members to become voting members.
We're stuck in a circle.
Yeah.
Let me jump in.
I
though.
mean, like the way this happens in the real world, like, is just essentially no one's going to sue us for this, and so it's totally okay.
Yeah.
When we fix this for something where the term ends, it doesn't like end right at the year, but it kind of keeps on going until the next.
I think that was the board seat. I could be wrong
Yeah.
now.
Something like that. But I think we ought to fix this also in practice.
Also,
for the
Emily,
voting members.
I just triple checked the list, and we did indeed miss getting it to you. You are the only name we missed it to, so we're going to get that out to you today.
But you were on the voting
Okay, cool.
list. It just
Yeah, you're on the voting
somehow.
list. I'm staring at like two different spreadsheets and like, how is this possible? So sorry about that. We are going to get that to you ASAP.
That's cool.
I blame it on the computers.
But definitely not
Computers.
JavaScript.
No, not JavaScript, but everything else.
Yeah.
All right, great. So let's see, where am I? So that's the two election related things. We also have the selection, which I noticed this morning there is some progress on as well. Electron has selected their two folks. Thanks for working on that, Tierney. And Node.js sent Trot and myself, Rich Trot, to represent Node. I don't know about any of the other projects.
Appium has a new person they're swapping out. They're going to let us know that second name. And Webpack is good. Trying to think who else. those are the only ones I've heard from so far. Emily?
Have we, together with the at-large election, did we do anything about the representatives of the regular members? Sorry, yeah, the third category of voting member. Have we done anything about this, or have we just forgotten?
No, we had people opted in for regular member voting and at-large voting. Those are the two different categories that we had nominations for.
Excellent. Sorry for
Yes.
bothering.
No.
So I just want to make sure I understand what you're asking, Emily. And I'm trying to pull up the dates here, dates and reminders.
That was missing on the dates and reminders, but if you see our governance page on their website, we have two different categories of voting members. We have regular and we have at-large. We still need to fix the title on one because it used to be growth and at-large voting member. Now we don't have growth, so it's just an at-large.
And the reason I was asking about this is because issue 906 doesn't mention anything about the regular members.
Mm-hmm. We still had nominations for that, so.
And we're just so I'm clear, we're talking about the voting member, up to 2 regular members can be elected as voting members. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's unclear to me what we're doing there and what the term ends and stuff is. But yeah. I don't know.
The term ends text is 2 paragraphs down. Voting members serve for a term of 1 year and must be renominated and ratified by the voting CPC members each year.
Okay. So do we know when that term ended and what we're doing there?
It was in sync with all of the others. So we essentially have those, currently those 3 seats. We have nominations for those current 3 seats that we have.
The 3 seats being 2 at-large project representatives?
And 1 regular, I believe, 2 regular. I have to go back and double check.
Yeah, okay.
I'll look at the
Yeah, this is
nominations.
awfully
And then
confusing.
also I did that, I know, and remember I did that email to all of the CPC on here, some things that are happening, and then I did each of the categories. I may have missed one, and I think I may have munged one with the impact nominations. And so, but it's yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah, Toby?
Yeah.
Yeah, what bothers me a little about this is like there's so much process around it, and like they're all sort of like so much, you know, close positions, but they're all slightly different, that we're kind of losing out on what you know, elections should be about, which is about figuring out, you know, what people actually want to stand for and do and have discussions around this. And I find that a little I don't know, I'd rather we did it a different way. So if we can sort of like think about this, you know, if we sort of clarify things and use that as a way to simplify the process and spend more time talking about what folks are going to do and less time about like, you know, open links and like that would be good.
Yeah, I agree. If you could just briefly capture that in that issue you created, that would be great. And that's one thing definitely we should work on.
Clearly, I should talk about.
All right, what are we doing? So yeah, we went back to election related stuff, but we did talk briefly about selection related stuff. So I assume that foundation staff are looking at who is being selected and who hasn't stepped up to make sure that's clear, I guess. That would be great.
Yeah, I think we're good. We have an open agenda on August 9th for a working session. Now we can
Yes, we
maybe
do.
think about using that.
Okay. Do we want to decide that now? I'm open to going through this rat's nest and trying to fix some things up. Okay.
It'd be good to have somebody who was maybe there during the development of the charter and all of the rules around this, maybe for some context. Or any of you
I
all
mean,
on that part of that?
I was. I think Joe was, and I think Amelie was. Am I forgetting anyone? Toby, were you there for that? No? Okay.
Nope.
You must have come in not long after.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
We're also
Michael,
growing. We're also growing too. So like our bylaws say for every 10 silver members, we have a board seat. So we're going to have 2 silver directors this year. And of course, our projects have grown since, we were founded a few years ago. So all good things to revisit.
agreed. Yeah, I think it's worth looking at what we thought would happen and where we are now and what makes the most sense moving forward. I'll see if Michael can join the working session too. He was there in the bootstrapping phase. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'll put it on the agenda if you're all cool with that.
Sounds good. Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so moving along, that's all the election and selection related stuff. The next item on the agenda is the Grace Hopper stuff. Do we need to talk about that? Or did the kind of stuff at the beginning cover this?
I think we covered it up front.
Yeah, I think we covered up front. Just a little reminder since this is now the video part of it, or the recorded part of that, we are going to have a booth at the Grace Hopper event, and we are participating in their Open Source Day hackathon as well. And more information to come on that one, on both of those.
Great. Does it make sense to put an update into this issue and then maybe close it and just know that when we ask for announcements in the beginning that there will probably be something that we'll touch on, or how do we want to move forward with this particular issue?
Yeah, do that.
I like that one.
Great. Thank you, Keel.
Mhm.
All right. So moving on, the next 2 items are the open PR 851 for updating contributor covenant code of conduct and the patching script that we would like to use once we get this landed as is, and then can make our changes on top of. Looking in the issue here, the pull request that is.
Which PR was this again?
851. This is
Okay.
the update contributor covenant code of conduct to version 2.1. I feel like we talk about this one often, but I think the plan is to just land it matching what is upstream and then apply our changes on top of that.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's what we landed on.
Yeah, so we just need to
And I think I was blocking it because I had a block, and I think I removed it, and so I think we should be able to do it.
all right. I feel like Ben reached out via Reliquestial. Ben reached out via
Yeah.
Slack. Sorry.
Ben Hutton, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was made clear what we were hoping to get done on this, so I will ping Ben and see if that's something that he wants to move forward, or if we can, how we move this one forward, because this has been ongoing for a while.
Wait. Why don't we just merge this? Or are you saying that we should do that and then something else? Ben's concern is not at all blocking anything of going to 2.1.
So
Right.
does this match 2.1? I wasn't sure if there was changes in
The
this
PR as it stands now will change change the text to be the current upstream 2.1 text, which is dropping specifically what the long discussion was about was the specify a project on project community, which was kind of mistakenly in the version of 2.0 that we had, and that was patched upstream from 2.0 to 2.0 without any sort of announcement after we did effectively an extraction. And the idea now is that as we tend to have an idea that we don't want to have the exact text of the 2.1, that we first go to 2.1 and then we fix separately from that as an identifiable change, what is the change that we want to apply from 2.1 to what is our actual text.
This is a great
if
summary.
we have blocks on this PR being merged, we I think have been sitting on it for long enough to merge it now, rather than ask anyone that. Yeah.
No, I
just merge it.
Yeah, I just scrolled through it, and you're right, Emily. It looks like it's just matching 2.1. We can merge it and then apply any of the changes we want on top of it.
We have another issue open to discuss, creating a patching mechanism and blah, blah, blah.
Perfect. Let's see then. Is this
One thing I will say is we should maybe try to get that patching mechanism out by next meeting, or like have a PR ready for it that implements it, just because technically we're changing my understanding is that we're technically changing the code of conduct for every project that relies on the upstream code of conduct right now. And so if we have something that projects want, I'm fine with the less permissive language, which I think is what this merges, or sorry, the more broad language, which is what I think this merges. But if there are things that sub-projects want, we should make sure we're trying to get it so they're not having to push or live against the code of conduct that they're not happy with. And that, like, we collectively agree should be different. I'm unopinionated. Either language is fine, but given that this is something people want, we should probably try to get this out fast rather than take from May to now again to get that system out.
I wonder about using the working session of next week, at least the first part of it, to just get that clear in our process and something, like you said, Tierney, ready for next meeting, which maybe won't take an hour. And then we can start on the election sort of related stuff, which, I'm not sure how long that will take, but this does seem pretty important.
It seems like it's essentially implementation work. And so I don't think it really needs like a session. It needs someone to actually do the implementation work.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so I would suggest not organizing a session before we know to discuss anything and before we know who's going to do the work.
Yeah, good point.
And I am not going to be doing that work right now because I already have like stuff on my plate that I've been promising for way too long to take anything else on. And it doesn't look super difficult if you actually know what the problem is and are like really familiar with GitHub Actions. I'm literally too old to be really familiar with GitHub Actions. Yeah, it's fucking true. And so someone else who's younger should take it.
Well, now
Speak for yourself, Toby. Come on.
Yeah,
Sorry, what?
Age has nothing to do with anything.
it's true.
No, it was a joke. It's just literally literally true. That's why it's funny.
All right, well, I hesitate to volunteer, but I'll try to figure it out and maybe reach out to Jordan and see if we can tag team it or something. And that has nothing, me volunteering has nothing to do with age, because I don't know our relation.
I was going to say, Joe, like that is not. I'm not taking this nicely at all.
All right. So I will reach out to Jordan and see if the two of us can throw something together. Okay. Great. So let's move on. And I'm trying to get back to where I am. So that's those two issues. There were, relatedly is the clarify requirements around COC violation. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here on the agenda. I'll put this one up here so it's clear. I don't know if we have anything on that one. It's another one that's just been hanging around.
And that's the one that was just saying that I'm supposed to do it and I haven't yet, which is why I don't want to take more stuff on.
Okay, got it. Regarding the JavaScript security collab space, that's on my plate, which has been overflowing lately. But my plan was to get something on the calendar opposite the standards working group meeting, and so I'm going to put that on the calendar today and have a plan for the first meeting, which will be a week, which will be in 2 weeks, I think. So I'll get that ball rolling.
Okay. We did an update last month on the OpenSSF Alpha Omega funding for Node. We have another draft blog for this last month. It'll be going out in the next couple of days. If you're interested in tracking that, there's also a new channel on OpenJS. It is, let me pull it up, Node.js-security-WG, Node Security Working Group channel on OpenJS. You're also welcome to join. OpenSSF has a Slack workspace with all kinds of channels, best practices, Alpha Omega, all kinds of goodies.
Great. Yeah, I need to join that OpenSSF one.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there were a couple of things from the Node.js working group that I think was suggested that we take it up a level to the OpenJS collab
Yeah.
space. So I'm gonna kind of collect some of those things for us to start considering in the first meeting. So thank you, Kahil. Slack.openssf.org for folks who want to join the OpenSSF Slack. I will do that after this meeting. So that's that. Then we have the last two. I'm trying to hurry up so we can talk in the private session. The last two is license check support and tooling. I assume no updates there. Any?
No, sorry. It's been sort of competing with some other infrastructure deadlines we have, so.
Yep. Understood. And then last one is build stronger ties between at-large maintainers and their CPC rep. Anything new there?
Well, let's talk about this in 2 weeks. It's fine.
Okay, sounds good. So that concludes our agenda, unless anybody has anything else. We'll call it a wrap. We will go to a private session for members only and go from there. So thanks, everybody. I will end the stream. See you in 2 weeks.